and that we did not feed you too much so that you won't have to fight too much to stay awake for the two sessions, session 3 and session 4 of today's program. As indicated by Dr. Atz this morning, we are very privileged. And in fact, it's the first time in the history of the Code Conference to have with us a colleague from the University of Havana, Cuba. She is Dr. Graciela Chaillo, and she is a member of the Association of Caribbean Economists, better known as ACE, and she has been a contemporary of quite a few of our well-known economists and members of the New World Movement over the decades. With that short introduction, I will invite Dr. Graciela Chaillo to present the foundation of Caribbean political economics for economic and social development, 1945 to 1970. Please welcome her.
Thanks, Mr. Franklin, for your presentation. Dr. Carrie Levitt, my mentor and friend. Dr. Gonzalez, he will comment my presentation. Dear colleagues, it's a great honor for me to have been invited to this conference, an occasion which permits us to share initiatives to unfold our original and extraordinary Caribbean intellectual tradition. My deep thanks to organizers for their efforts in order to make my attendance possible here. I would like to make some comments before presenting my contribution to this conference. You would like to know the main reasons why I'm here. In the 1998 summer, I was comfortable while doing something like a work routine at the time I have been teaching and to do research on Cuban economic thought and history of Cuban economy for 27 years at Havana University. And in a way, I had obtained a decent position. In that period, I also had worked on Cuban-American relations. But without warning, from July 1998 to February 1999, my professional life was deeply transformed. During these 7 months, I met Dr. Lloyd Best, Dr. Carrie Levitt, and Dr. Norman Girvan. And I discovered the Caribbean, and I was converted into a fervent plantation economy follower, a real Caribbean academic. Because of that, I had dedicated the book on which I am going to speak tonight, to speak now to them. Thanks a lot, my friends. My conversion has implied a great task for me. As you can notice, my mastery of oral English is very basic. I did not learn it properly, but I have been able to read it for my work research. During the last 15 years, I had received the pleasure to be really well supported and appreciated by many Caribbean economists, colleagues from different places, even though I have a handicap. I am not economist. I am a historian. Please apologize me for that. For these previous reasons, I would like to send you to stay here to honor Dr. Dennis Pantin. The man that conceived a fascinating logical methodology for his well-known book that is The Caribbean Economy, a Reader. All of us know the extreme complexities of the Caribbean economy and the extraordinary number of works published on it. But Dennis Pantin, as a magical intellectual organizer, grouped this scholarly tradition in three accurate and precise issues anchored in Caribbean economic essence. Economy, like my teacher said. How the Caribbean economies work, what are the socioeconomic impacts of how these economies function, and what ought to be done to improve the workings of these economies to realize the expectation of the population of the region. In diverse ways, all these aspects are more or less represented in my talk to my recognition on the practical and theoretical importance to respond the above issues in order to look for the Caribbean population socioeconomic welfare. As you can see, my presentation has changed the name. I decided that maybe an orthodox economics criticism from the Caribbean is more precise in order to reflect my reflections. But the core of my presentation is to explain about the foundation of a political economy for socio-economic Caribbean development from 1945 to 1970. Okay, thank you. The subjects of my presentation are four. First, theoretical and methodological assumptions. Second, foundation of the Caribbean intellectual tradition, Caribbean economic thought. Third, Caribbean political economy from the end of the World War II to decolonization. And finally, how to express the Caribbean political economy theorization. The first, theoretical and methodological assumption. An important Latin American intellectual had to say that to interpret the history of capitalism from its border is in test of its center. He's told about that in an article that the name is The Nature of Post-Colonialism from Eurocentrism to Global Centrism. My theoretical and methodological, oh my God, excuse me, I am so nervous. Caribbean, in my work, I explain that Cuba and the British West Indies are the Caribbean because they have commonalities, and the central basic idea is that they are outcome of capitalism. They are cardinal pieces in Atlantic world formation. Remember that all began here. They are societies created by external forces, externally propelled, as Lloyd Best and Carrie Levitt said, the population, flora, and fauna technologies all was brought from different parts in the world. We are exploitation colonies, as Celso Furtado, the Latin American historian, said when he established the typology of the colonies in the New World. The plantation economies, they are plantation economies as metropolitan appendices, as Lloyd Best, Carrie Levitt, and the New World Group established it. And they struggled to become a welfare society for their population, from marronage to independence. This is our history. From marronage to independence and decolonization. The theoretical foundation in general are that capitalism is a global system, as Immanuel Wallenstein and Samir Amin in the 70s explained us. Capitalism is inequality system, what is the root of the dependency theory in Latin America. Colonial typology speaks us about an economy which created a society, as Celso Furtado and Lloyd Best said. Particularities of social structure, Caribbean sociology, the Caribbean sociology and intellectuals that, as George Beckford, Raymond Smith, Edward Kamau Brathwaite, and Michael Smith had expressed. We live in a historical epoch and compulsory updating, as Darcy Ribeiro, the Brazilian anthropologist, explained. I suggest that economic relation of production is the core of the economic doctrines, but in the Caribbean case, you have to consider plus the dependency. For that reason, we need to do an economic thought systematization. The other methodological and theoretical foundation established that we have an object of study that is imperative to create a specific method, to consider the historical context, to establish a periodization, considering global and local connections, that theoretical and methodological tools from North Atlantic thought have been must be object of reception, recreation, and creation in order to explain an anomalous situation. Knowledge on economics, universal doctrine, economic doctrine reception must to be considered, joined with the process of create a particular conception. We have to consider how the different authors represent social sectors' interests. I think that we have to debate about the existence or not of classes in the Caribbean. Caribbean economic thought is a theoretical, must be a theoretical contribution to capitalist comprehension from the dependency world. We don't know enough the system, the capitalist system, without to know the reflection about the system from the dependency world. The components, the main components of the Caribbean economic thought. A perspective on capitalism created by the Caribbean itself. The plantation economy as a capitalist economic structure. Caribbean society, we have to establish its origin, diagnosis, and socioeconomic development projects. We have to consider the inside and outside components and establish the socio-political characteristics. Put the focus on economic policy. I think that in the Caribbean political economy must to put the center on to create economic policy for our development. My thesis is that the Cuban and British West Indies economic thought after the World War II is an indigenous economic science that reflects a dependency capitalist form in territories which were formerly exploited colonies by the plantation economic structure, and the decolonization process demands solution projects to overcome the plantation legacy so as to transform the whole Caribbean society in the economic, political, and social scope. For that reason, I consider that Cuba, British West Indies economic thought comparison guidelines that interconnect them are historical epoch. Historical epoch because in the same moment we have colonies, we have semi-independent countries, etc. Historical epoch, economic and social problems, and social sectors' interests that are reflected in the economic thought. The object of a study have to respond how to reach socioeconomic development, how to insert itself in the economic world system, how to improve population welfare, which the theoretical orientation to apply, and elaboration of socioeconomic and development strategies. The plantation, the main contents of the Caribbean political economy are the plantation economy legacy, peasantry and agriculture relevance in society, agriculture or industrialization, impact of territory size on economic production units, factors that either improve or hinder the regional economic integration, transnational cooperation impact on society, social structure, economy as social function, not like a technical issue. Now I want to speak about what is my idea on when the Caribbean economic thought was born. Franklin Knight, a Caribbean historian, said the Caribbean people in the 30s were poor in general, in material sense. They were not poor in spirit and self-confidence. of that there can be absolutely no doubt. According to Franklin Knight, the main characteristic of the creation of a new intellectual situation in the Caribbean are the Caribbean societies became increasingly linked economically, political, intellectual, and culturally in the 30s. The 30s representing a crucial transition point from the old society to the modern Caribbean society. During this decade, workers and all lower social sectors broke into political essence. In that period, a leadership that represents the most wide popular interest emerged. Agriculture alone could not provide solution for the economic harms. The first intellectual Caribbean generation was born. The intellectual regional tradition roots were settled. They expressed the Caribbean soul, who is Caribbean voices. From 1929 to 1933, this was a big crisis in the capitalist system. And in the Caribbean, this crisis was expressed as a revolution. The USA colonial policy on Cuba was expressed in the presence of a commission, Cuban Affairs Commission, that produced a big book. The name is Report of Problem of New Cuba. In this big report is considered that what happened in Cuba during this year was a revolution. And the British policy on its Caribbean colonies sent to the region the Morgan Commission that produced a report that said that in these years, the Caribbean was shocked by a revolution. And a British Colonial Development and Welfare Fund was created. I want that you see the similarities between the USA policy to Cuba and to British policy to the British Caribbean. They said that there was a revolution in the Caribbean because the popular masses challenged the imperial power. Nationalism was expressed in constitutions, political parties, and trade unions, the same in both places. And Marxism and reformist ideologies took place in the mind of the people during these years. Popular revolts were a real revolutionary movements. But both metropolis established metropolitan anti-crisis plans. In Cuba, a 3-year economic plan under the first Fulgencio Batista government that began in 1937. In England, established for their colonies its colonies in the Caribbean, British Colonial Development and Welfare Funds in 1942, but for the World War was interrupted, the application. Arthur Lewis, in one of the first words, title, The 30th Social Revolution, asked what can be done. The general aims of the movement are to raise the economic and cultural standards of the masses and to secure for them conditions of freedom and equality. This was the same for Cuba, the same problem for Cuban masses and for British West Indies masses. The economic thought that emerged in this condition was expressed in Cuba by Ramiro Guerra. I think that Ramiro Guerra was a pioneer on plantation theory. He wrote a book that the name is Sugar and Population in the Antilles in 1927. He was a reformist. Rubén Martínez Villena, he was one of the first communists in Cuba. He analyzed the situation, the Cuban situation, from the Marxist perspective. And Gustavo Gutiérrez, an official of the government, that suggests for first time that the government have to take the conduction of the economy, because the situation don't permit that the spontaneous development of the economy. In the same moment, in the British West Indies, C.R. James published in 1938 The Black Jacobins, where he connected the situation between a colony and its metropolis, analyzing the Haitian Revolution as a problem insert in the international system. Arthur Lewis began his studies about the development in the Caribbean. I think that he's well known as one of the fathers of the development theory of economy, but not enough about his works on the Caribbean economy. And Eric Williams, that, as you know, had a relationship with Eric James, wrote during the 40s, The Black in the Caribbean and Capitalism and Slavery. For the first time in British West Indies and in Cuba, the intellectuals are looking for the origins of the situation of the society, analyzing the situation from the Caribbean, not outside the Caribbean. The economic thought that they construed contains the awful effect of imperial dependence, the mono-exportation and poly-importation of the main problems of the economy, the low prices for export products and high tariff in the international market, large landed estate as a source of poverty, under-industrialization, unemployment and underemployment, absence of internal market, monetary dependency. I want to call your attention about This theme was examined by Henry Wallace, that wrote a book that the name is Cuba and the Problems of an Exportation Economy, and Felipe Pasos, that was a Cuban that was an important official in the Monetary International Fund, and after that in Venezuela. In short, the Caribbean situation is the result of external domination, and the solution must be a deep economic transformation to do away with the masses poverty. I think that this is the main conclusion about this intellectual production. But from the end of the World War II to the colonization, we are in front of towards the creation of a Caribbean political economy. The stage of economic thought, I think, is acquire a high rank, the rank of a Caribbean political economy. The international context was the Cold War confrontation. The problem to resolve was how to plan and program development. Keynesianism, neoliberalism, Marxism, and dependency theories feed all these reflections. And the economic transnationalization was so examined. And the presence in our countries of state monopolist capitalism. In the local context, in Cuba, the situation was a contraction, a structural permanent crisis from 1934. And in British West Indies, the same situation. In Cuba, there were a reciprocity commercial treaty that put the Cuban economy in the same level that in 1925, et cetera, et cetera. The population was it grew, but the sugar production, the main production in the country, maintained in the level of the 20 years previous. In the British West Indies, the sugar production and exportation collapsed. The persistent poverty was a feature. Labor emigration to cities and to developed countries became a source of employment. Seasonal labor and sugar plantations, endemic unemployment and underemployment, appalling living conditions, and per capita income declined dramatically. For that reason, during the 60s, in the Caribbean emerged a political economy in order to create an economic policy that reflect, etc., Keynesianism, neoclassicism, Marxist dependentism, and the institutionalization for the management of economy was an important character. and the industrialization was saw as the solution for the economic disruption. Julián Alienes, an Spaniard, immigrated to Cuba due to the Civil War in Spain. And Arthur Lewis, a St. Lucian that was studying to economist in London, in the same year published two capital books. Julián Alienes wrote Fundamental Characteristics of Cuban Economy, the first global analysis of the Cuban economy. And Arthur Lewis published The Industrialization of the British West Indies. They use the same inspiration, theoretical inspiration. They consider that the public expenditure have to be an important tool to resolve the